following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street. 22 here for your Sumner County Sports Preview. Your host, Zach Womble.
12:30 here in the Mid-State, so you know what time it is. Time for the Sumner County Sports Podcast. Yes, we are bringing it to you 30 minutes earlier and 2 days earlier, as we will be in Murfreesboro for all spring fling coverage. So we're recording on Monday. Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition of the show. Joining me, as always, behind the scenes is our soon-to-be award-winning producer, JP Plant. I ask you each and every week, and I'm going to do it again. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and comment on the podcast wherever you may be listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Main Street Preps. You can follow me on Twitter at Zach Womble MSP, and the show on Twitter at Sumner Sports Pod. You can also check us out on Facebook at Main Street Preps, the Gallatin News, Hendersonville Standard, and the Portland Sun. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a follow there, where you will find us on Main Street Nashville, where you find videos from Mornings on Main Street with Joe Dubin, Main Street Sports Today with Chris Yao, Mo Patton, and JP Plant, as well as our entire library of podcasts, including yours truly. One last item of note before we dive into today's show: a huge thank you to the fans who tune in each and every week. Your support is greatly appreciated, so I just want to say thank you. Top headlines before we get into our interview, which will be kind of the main course of today's show. Spring Fling update. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you to head on over to mainstreetpreps.com, the Sumner County tab, where you'll find everything that you need to know. Spring Fling at a glance, how much tickets are, how much it costs to park, what you can and cannot bring into each venue. So again, head on over to mainstreetpreps.com, click on the Sumner County tab, and you will find everything that you need to know regarding this week's Spring Fling. Other top headline this week: congratulations to Pope Prep's Chet Lax on being named Tennessee Baseball Coaches Association Mr. Baseball finalist for Division II Double. That division is littered with talent from top to bottom. So being named one of the top three players in the division is something to be proud of. So congratulations to Chet Lax for that honor. Merrill Hyde back into the state tournament for the second year in a row. Our main course of today will be catching up with Daniel Brooks. So I won't spend a ton of time on this because we're going to do that after the break. But congratulations to the Hawks, who punched their ticket through to Murfreesboro, beating the Chattanooga School of Arts and Sciences this past weekend in the Class A sectional round. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the break, but stay tuned after the break, and we will welcome in Merrill Hyde soccer coach Daniel Brooks to the show.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes!
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back into the Sumner County Sports Podcast. I want to thank our advertisers for supporting us here. I teased before the break that we would talk with Merrill Hyde soccer coach Daniel Brooks, and he joins us via the phone line right now. Coach Brooks, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well, Zach. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing good, brother. I really appreciate you jumping in today. For our first-time guests, I like to have a little bit of an introduction. So tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what got you into soccer, and how long you've been at Merrill Hyde.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I played soccer my whole life. Grew up in Louisiana, moved to Kentucky when I was 10. Played my high school through there. I played collegiately at Kentucky Wesleyan College in Owensboro, Kentucky, and then moved down here to Tennessee about 16 years ago. Started coaching when I got out of college. Just started out in younger age groups, U10, U11, and then got into high school down here. I became good friends with Jim Carr, the former coach at Merrill Hyde. He asked me to assistant coach. That was 9 years ago, and started then, coached 5 years with Jim as the assistant coach at Merrill Hyde. And when he retired, I took over the head coaching job there, and I've been there, the head coach there the past 4 years.
Awesome. Well, I was going to say, you're pretty much a resident now. You're pretty much a native of Tennessee. You've been here for 16 years. So, I guess you get to wear that crown as a native. But Coach Brooks, listen, you've obviously been at Merrill Hyde, like you said, the last 4 years. Going all the way back to 2017, 2018, 2019, you guys knock on the door of the state tournament, but fall short each year. And then 2020, you've got a really good team, but that obviously comes to a close due to COVID. But you guys bounced back last year, punch your ticket to state for the first time. I remember being there every step of the way that year. But for our listeners, can you just kind of describe the emotions you felt finally breaking through and into the Spring Fling tournament last year?
Yeah, most definitely. Like you said, it's we have a really tough region. I feel like it's hard to get out of the region, and the sectional game is always really tough. And like you said, we knock on the door there. We lost, I guess, 3 years ago. Well, that was the COVID year. 4 years ago, we lost with 16 seconds left on the clock against Chattanooga School of Arts and Sciences on a free kick from out the box. And just talk about a brutal loss. And the year is such a grind, and just to get to that, that point and then lose that way is tough. And so, but I kind of feel like those moments help prepare you, going forward in the seasons to come. And so finally getting through with our team last year, kind of just a sense of relief, and I'm just so happy for the boys first and foremost, but it's just really a relief to finally get past, that point and punch our ticket in the state. And it was really just an amazing, but I was just so proud of the boys because it really comes down to them at that point in time. Once you get to the postseason, I kind of feel like, and I tell them, I've done everything that I can possibly do for you. We can make some tactical changes here and there, but it really boils down to their performance and them stepping up. So you try to put them in the best position that you can, but just extremely proud of them. And once you get to that point, I feel like it kind of helps us with this team this year. Just kind of what's expected. They know what it takes to punch the ticket through, and it's always a tough game. It can go either way, but I think it just kind of helps prepare them mentally for what it takes to get, to that next level.
Kind of sticking with the theme of continued growth. Your program, like I said, has continued to grow each and every year. What do you attribute to that growth? Is it more kids playing travel soccer? I mean, what is it, do you think, that has allowed your team to go from struggling to now, a state tournament year, back-to-back years?
That's a great question. I think a lot of it comes back to the players, obviously, because they're the ones that have to get out there and perform. But I know a lot of my boys are playing club. I've had great senior leadership, especially last year. I had 8 seniors last year, and that's a huge part of when you have upperclassmen, just kind of leading the way for you out there. But, I feel like Jim did a great job of, not starting the program, but I think developing it into a strong program. He put the ideas in place and, just what's expected of the players. I think he did a great job of setting the foundation, and I've just kind of, carried that on. Obviously, I do think some things different, but I think that he did a great job, and we just have a really good program in place right now. And the boys coming through know what's expected of them, and they just kind of know what it takes to win. But the upperclassmen were huge last year, and obviously we had just an exceptional talented group. But this year's been a little different. I've got 2 seniors this year, and so we've lost 18 players in the past 2 years before this. So for a school as small as us, we've got 224 students in the school. I think like I've got 100 boys probably at the school. So if I get 20 guys playing, I've got 20% of the school playing soccer. So whenever I lose that many players in a couple of years, it's always tough to kind of rebound. But my 2 seniors this year have just been absolutely unbelievable. They were a huge part, in getting to the state tournament last year, so they were able to help. I've got a lot of freshmen this year, and they kind of help them, understand what it takes, to get to this point and actually get back into the state tournament. So just pretty unbelievable what they've accomplished this year.
Kind of stepping away from the field a little bit, Daniel. Last spring I had the pleasure of coming out for your buddies program. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about that and maybe how they could get involved next year?
Yeah, so we have a program. It's called Tennessee Soccer Stars, and we've partnered with Tennessee United here the past several years. And it's basically a program for kids with any developmental disabilities and to come out, and we have our players, and there's obviously players at Merrill High, but now that we partner with Tennessee United, there's different teams that come out. We even have players from Station Camp come out as well, and other high schools that have heard about it. But they come out, and we buddy them up with we call them they're our stars, and they come out. We buddy them up with a star, and we just run different drills and just do different fun games. We do 8 sessions, and they're Saturdays they start at 10 o'clock. We do 8 sessions in the fall and 8 sessions in the spring, and it's just a great program. We've got anywhere from 20 to 30 kids each week now. We started out with maybe like 4 or 5 kids coming out, so the program has just grown, and it's great for the stars, but I think it's just as great for the buddies that come out and help them, because it just teaches so many great, valuable life lessons. So it's just a great program. It really is one of the most things we're proud of at Merrill High, for sure.
It seems like an eternity ago at this point, but it was just this past October, the girls program brought home the gold for the first time in school history. I'm wondering if that has motivated your team to maybe try to make a run at it, or do you think it's helped just kind of the season for your boys this year?
Yeah, that was so great for Jason and the rest of the coaches in the program. I've got a daughter that plays for that team, so it was exciting for me to be watching them as well from that aspect. But yeah, it's just great. I think that it's great for the school. I think people know who Merrill Hyde is now. Obviously, the girls have been getting there, and it's just great for the boys to finally get up in there. We've been trying to get in, how hard it is, and it's just great for us to finally get up in there. But I think it just, it kind of pushes both sides to, you always want to get as far as you possibly can, but you see them do it, and I think it gives us some confidence, to know that it is attainable and that you can actually get there. And so props for Jason and the great program that he has, and I think they have a really good chance to get back there as well this year. And once you get in, you never know what can happen. But yeah, I think it's just great for them. But yeah, the boys, we've got confidence. I think just us getting in last year and finally getting over that hump, we know that we can do it. It's never easy because there's great teams out there. You know, it's never an easy road, but just making it last year, I think for our boys was huge, and just trying to, you know, finally getting over that hump, and it's just given us confidence, you know, for this year as well.
Yes, kind of speaking to that theme again, you know, if you look at this year's record, it doesn't look great, right, Daniel? 13, 9-2, but you're in the final 8. You're there. So who kind of stepped up for you guys to get there this year? And were you surprised at all to make it, especially maybe after some midseason struggles like losing to STEM Prep by combined 13-0 in 2 matches this year?
Yeah, and that, you know, I was looking at the state bracket and I was like, man, we've got more losses than the other team in there. But, you know, I told our boys this before the CSAS game that we played this weekend. You know, I schedule outside of my district, I schedule the absolute toughest schedule that I can. We talked about this before, but I play, you know, Station Camp, I play Beach, a home and away, I play Wilson Central, you know, and several of other teams. But I try to schedule those tough teams because I think, you know, I'm not really so much worried about, you know, what my record looks like. You know, it's really the end result and what's going to help us, you know, when we get into these sectional games and get into these region games and district finals, you know, to try to help us become the better team. And so, you know, those are always tough games for us. But and STEM Prep is an excellent team. They're new to our district this year, but they're absolutely amazing. They're a great club. And so, but, you know, you get into that CSAS game, this sectional game this weekend, and that's what I told the boys. I said, you know, they're such a young squad, but I'm like, you know, you're ready for this game. You know, you played against these tough teams, and, you know, this is why we play those teams, because this is going to be a grind today, but all those battles that you've gone through, you know, they've helped you become, you know, a stronger team. And especially with the younger team as we had. But to answer your question there after that, you know, who's really made an impact for us, we've got 2 great seniors, Jake Burton and Trevor Keel, just playing center back for us, just amazing leaders, even better young men off the pitch. But the calmness and the composure that they give us, you know, on our back line, really just, I can't say enough good things about them. We've got Drew Williamson in goal this year, who's just done an amazing job. You know, Joshua Lynch played for us forever. He's playing on the next level, and Drew's kind of been, you know, behind him and ready to get up in there. And so he's just, you know, taking his chance this year and just stepped up huge for us. We've got some really juniors who've stepped up big time for us. You know, I'm starting 4 freshmen this year, so any upperclassmen that I can get is just, you know, it's huge to try to help those boys, you know, grow throughout the year. But Braden Evans is a special player in the midfield for us, just doing an amazing job. And Jesse Ochoa has just been amazing for us this year. He stepped up, scored in the Chattanooga School and Arts and Sciences game in our sectional game this weekend in the 1-0 win. So he just played huge minutes for us there, and just great. But my freshmen have really stepped up. Like I said, I'm starting 4 freshmen, and for them to play against, you know, bigger, physical, faster guys, and you know, but I feel like throughout the year, you know, they've just grown mentally and they're, you know, really figured out what it takes to win at this level, because it is a challenge for them. So just extremely proud of the boys.
Daniel, I haven't asked anybody this question yet, but would you be able to stick through after the break? I've got a few more questions for you I'd like to ask you, and I don't want to have to be kind of pushed up after the break, but could you stick around after the break for a few more questions?
Yeah, Zach, I'd be happy to.
Awesome. Coming up after the break, we keep talking with Merrill High boys soccer coach Daniel Brooks.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TWS Double.
Welcome back after the break. We are talking with Merrill High boys soccer coach Daniel Brooks, talking about his team's punching his ticket to the spring fling for the second year in a row. Coach Brooks, to kind of pick back up where we left off, I had mentioned that the first two matches against STEM Prep really didn't go your way, but then you face off against them in the region title match, and it's a 2-0 loss. So I'm wondering where did your program grow the most from those first two matches until that region title match?
Yeah, and like I said, starting off STEM Prep, they're an exceptional team. They're on the other side of the bracket, obviously, from us, but we've had a chance to see them 3 times, and I told their coach, I said, if there's a better team in the state, I'd like to see them. So I think they're going to be really, really tough to beat. But just starting out in the year, whenever we played them, like I said, with such a young team, I don't think we were really mentally ready for that game. Lost 5-0 in the first one. The second time we played them, I think it was in the district final. We had a really bad game. We started out and gave up 3 goals, I think, in the first 10 minutes. And just, you play against a good, solid team like that, it's going to be hard to get back into the game. And once again, I think it was a learning moment for us, just knowing that you can't give up an early goal. You can't start out like that because you play against a good team. It's just too big a ground to make up. And so we finally get back and see them in the region final and knew what to expect. And I made some tactical changes as far as formation, what we went. I won't get into too many of those because we may see them again, but we just did some different things tactically and moved a couple players around to stiffen up our defense and try to, change the way that we did. But I thought we had a really good game plan in that. We were down 1-0 at the halftime, and really talking with my assistant coaches and the boys, I said, look, we just want to get to half and have a chance to play against this team. And I felt we did that, gave up a goal in the second half as well, but I feel like we're inching closer to them each time. But they're an exceptional team. They've got a lot of dangerous players that can hurt you, and their speed of play is just really quick. So I hope that we get a chance to face them. If we do, it'll be in the final, obviously, which will be huge for us. So hopefully we're faced, with that again and see what we can do against them.
Earlier in the interview, you mentioned playing tough competition all season long, and you will again get another tough opponent in Harpeth in round 1. If you look at their record, 15-1-1, that could be daunting. They've pitched 7 shutouts this year. Clearly, they have a great defense. I guess how do you break through that brick wall that they've kind of put up this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the boys and I have talked a little bit. We're going to train tonight, have a light session just to get ready and talk about, what we want to do. But you get to this point and there's no easy games. It doesn't matter who we draw, any of the other 7 teams, there's a reason that they're here and still play, And so the boys, we talk a little bit, about Harpeth. It's going to be a tough game, but really what I try to focus on with my boys is always tell them, say, look, I'm not so much worried about the other team. It's about what can we control, and how can we play the way that we want to play? Because I feel like when we play the game that we want to, and we set our minds on what we want to do, as Merrill High, and the way that we want to control the ball and set up defensively, I think we're a really, really tough team to beat. And so, we'll talk a little bit about Harpeth, but really I just tonight we're going to talk about, what we need to do. And you just try to control the things that you control, because I can't really control anything that Harpeth does, and how they set up. But, for my guys, we're just going to really, talk about what it's going to take to win. And I feel good with where we're at right now, though. CSAS was an extremely tough team. It was really gritty win for us to win that. We scored, I think, 5 minutes into the second half and, held on. And it was just a really, like I said, gritty win for us. I thought it was really a professional performance from our boys to win a 1-0 game on the road with as young as we are, too. Those younger guys really stepped up and played, like they had been there before. And so that's what it's going to take once we get here to try to put a couple wins together. But, I feel good about our chances. I feel like when we play the way that we can play, we're a really tough team to beat. So it's just, trying to find a way to dial in mentally, because I think that's such a huge part of the game at this point. All the teams there are excellent teams, but really the team that can, handle the mental stress and carry over and play the way that they need to play, I think that's going to put you in the best chance to win.
Most certainly. Well, Daniel, I'm very much looking forward to it, to see if you guys can make some noise tomorrow. Fans, if you're wanting to know, 2 o'clock tomorrow at Richard Siegel Park, the Hawks take on Harpeth in their round 1 state tournament game. Coach Brooks, thank you so much for joining us today on the Sumner County Sports Podcast. I wish I could have covered you guys a little bit more this year, but thank you for just, hopping on and shed a little light on Merrill Hyde soccer.
Zach, I really appreciate you. Thanks so much as always, buddy. And talk to you soon, man. Thanks again.
We'll catch up tomorrow. Thanks, Coach. See ya. Again, that was Merrill Hyde boys soccer coach Daniel Brooks joining the show. One more segment before we close up today's episode, and that is our Player of the Week segment. He's a reoccurring guest at this point, but Hendersonville's sophomore pitcher Lake Morris was incredible. Pitched a masterpiece against Ravenwood in the Class 4A sectional this past weekend, striking out 13 Raptor batters and giving up just 1 hit over 7 complete innings. He was incredible. A couple weeks ago, he caught attention saying that, when he knows he gets the ball, he's ready to go before he puts the milk in his cereal bowl. And he told me that he is a whole milk kind of guy and ate the Captain Crunch before that day's game. So congratulations to Lake Morris on pitching the Commandos to the state tournament. I'm excited to see kind of how it shakes out for Mike Hendricks in his last go around. They get Farragut in round 1, and Farragut is a tough out. They've got 11 state championships to their program's history and are a favorite for many to win it all again this year. But you know what? Maybe Mike Hendricks and the Commandos got a little destiny going. So, again, if you're in Murfreesboro, join me at Oakland High School on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. where the Commandos take on the Admirals in Game 1. That will do it for today's episode of the Sumner County Sports Podcast. As always, I close it out, shooting it into the basket, crumbling up April's old calendar. So let's see if I can't drain for the last show before spring. Again, a little high, but that's okay. Listen, if you're in Murfreesboro, come say hi to me. I look forward to talking to you. But I will catch you next week for the newest episode of the Sumner County Sports Podcast.